Good day, students. I'm Dr. Rachna Mathur and I am teaching you Hopkins. And we are talking about life and career and his contribution to literature. So I'm continuing with Hopkins. In 1862, Hopkins won a scholarship to Balliol College, Oxford. In the same year, he wrote a poem, A Vision of the Mermaids. He entered Oxford in October 1863 and for the next 4 years he remained an avid reader of the classics. Here he came under the influence of Jowett, the Regius professor at Oxford. The friendship he made at Oxford lasted all through his life, and the reference must especially be made to Robert Bridges, who was later to become the literary executor of Hopkins. Among his more intimate friends, beside Bridges, were A.W.M. Bell and D.M. Dolben. Hopkins himself had started taking life seriously. As a student, he was very punctual. Bridges writes Hopkins was so punctilious about the text and so enjoyed loitering over the difficulties that I foresaw we should never get through. This fascination for difficult remained a lifelong infatuation with Hopkins. His diaries provide a fairly accurate and very scrupulous account of his youthful misdemeanors. In 1866, during Lent, he wrote, quote, "No pudding on Sunday, no tea except to keep one awake, and then without sugar, not to sit in armchair except I can work in no other way, Ash Wednesday and Good Friday bread and water." Unquote. Hopkins entered Hopkins entered Oxford University at a time when it was vibrant with many religious controversies. 18 years earlier, Cardinal Newman. Remember, students, the name of Cardinal Newman. I am repeating, 18 years earlier, Cardinal Newman had entered the Roman Catholic Church, and the repercussions of his conversion to Catholicism were still felt at Oxford. Edward B. Pusey, who after Newman became the leader of the Oxford movement, was still at the university, and so was Benjamin Jowett, who represented the more national and intellectual conceptions of Christianity. Hopkins was influenced by all these three church leaders, largely under the influence of Cardinal Newman. He embraced Roman Catholicism in 1867. Then he wanted to leave the university, but Cardinal advised him to complete his degree. He graduated the same year with first class in classics. This conversion to Roman Catholicism had far reaching effects. His letters record how deeply, sorry, I am repeating, his letters record how deeply His conversion affected his whole being. He offended his family by this conversion. This also caused complication in his relationship with Robert Bridges. As a result of this conversion, he was isolated from many Oxford personalities with whom he was on the best of terms. His anguish and depth of distress can be gauged from a letter he wrote to Newman. Quote, I have been up at Oxford long enough to leave heard from my father and mother in return for my letter announcing my conversion. Their replies are terrible. I cannot read them twice. If you will pray for them and me just now, I shall be deeply grateful. This conversion caused a tragic isolation for Hopkins from the world that he had known for so long, and his only possibility of consolation lay in a strenuous, fervid, and consumingly loyalty to the new found faith. I'm repeating, his anguish and depth of distress can be gauged from a letter he wrote to Newman. I have been up at Oxford long enough to have heard from my father and mother in return for my letter announcing my conversion. Their replies are terrible. I cannot read them twice. If you will pray for them and me just now, I shall be deeply grateful. This conversion caused a tragic isolation for Hopkins from the world that he had known for so long, and his only possibility of consolation lay in a strenuous, fervid, and consuming loyalty to the newfound faith. The experience of a person who has become a convert is always different from that of a person who has been born into a faith. Such a person has to work in isolation. This isolation must be compensated by the intensity of the faith. This also explains why Hopkins attached so much importance to his relations with friends like Robert Bridges. After graduation, Hopkins left Oxford. From now onward, the religious experience is the one great reality for the poet. He entered the Society of Jesus in 1868 and subordinated himself passionately to its discipline. Now he left poetry, considering it to be something which could not continue with his life as a priest. He burned much of his earlier work. On leaving Oxford, Hopkins first went to Birmingham, where he served at the Oratory School. Here, Cardinal Newman initiated the new convert to the Catholic ways. Now, the main field of his study remained philosophy. About the hardness of this life, he wrote to A.W. Bale, the life here, though it is hard, is God's will for me, as I most intimately know, which is more than violets keep knee deep. In 1877, he was ordained as a priest. When he entered the Society of Jesus, he left poetry, but now he was encouraged to recommence his work as a poet. This was the happiest advice which could have been given to any poet. His highly individual poetry, which arose from his faith and his deep mystical attachment to it, belongs to the later years 1875 to 1899. Thank you, students. We will continue with this topic in the next e-content. Please make your own short answer type questions and make your own questions and start writing whatever you have prepared. Thank you.